Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher. Tonight, we are turning down the glare on the crime emergency in D.C. and turning up the spotlight on the art. Now, tonight, we are going to explore the shops, the arts, the restaurants, and the nightlife east of the Anacostia River. It's all part of D.C.'s Art All Night 2025. And we are heading into the Marshall Heights community. It's an area filled with music, food, galleries, beautiful walks, and so much more. I have a great panel tonight. My guests are Herb Gray with Life Enhancement Services, Diane Young, owner of She from DC, and Raquel Perry Esquire. She is the director of the Pennsylvania Avenue East Main Street Marshall Heights Community Development Organization Incorporated. Whew. Gotta take a breath.
You did a good job,
after all of that, look, thank you all so much for spending some time to talk about this event, because obviously this is a big deal for the communities east of the river, but it's also a big deal for DC. Before I get into the nuances of Art All Night, I want each of you to kind of share with me about the Marshall Heights community from your own perspective and what makes this community so great. I'll start with you, Raquel.
So actually, we are celebrating in the Penn Branch community. So Marshall Heights has the contract for Pennsylvania Avenue Main Street, but we will be celebrating in the Penn Branch community. And if you know anything about the Penn Branch community, it's very historic. We know if you know the Silver Coast used to be known as the Silver Coast over there in that Hillcrest neighborhood, and we want to pay homage to that. We want all those old DC folks. We want them to come out and celebrate, and this is for them.
Okay, so what's so special about that community?
What's so special about Penn Branch?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have me at the elm, so I'm supporting.
Well, then there's that. we can see it has already started with Raquel. Go ahead.
So I'm supporting all the small businesses along Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast, right? And there's a number of communities. You have Penn Branch, you have Hillcrest, you have Fort DuPont, you have Randall Circle. It's at least 8, right? And so we want all of them to come out. We know historically, Ward 7 and that side of town, back in the day, they were known for a lot of very successful, more affluent professionals. You had your doctors, your lawyers, who sometimes even worked worked inside their homes, right? And so even though times have changed, I'm not from here, but I keep hearing this is a different DC. For one night only, right? I want everyone to feel like this is home again, right? This is what they're used to. Mm-hmm. We want to bring the community together, and that's why we have the theme, We Are One. No matter which neighboring community you're from, tonight, we're all one.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Hold on. You said you're not originally from here.
No.
Where are you from? That will determine whether or not we let you speak for the rest of the conversation. No, I'm kidding.
I'm originally from Miami, Florida.
Well, yeah, well, you know what? Here's the wonderful thing about that is being originally from Miami, and you are really familiar with the importance of the arts community. Mm-hmm. Because we do know that Miami, South Beach and on the other side of Ocean Drive and all of that. Yes, I've been down there. That there have been, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But there's a huge arts community there. And so I think that you do bring a rather unique perspective for an event like this.
Right. When I was coming up, Art Basel was just becoming a thing down in Miami. And I remember when it was just a few blocks for like a day or so, right? And that was like a week-long event. And where they actually have Art Basel, They have it in like historic, what used to be Overtown, which is now Wynwood. Just like a lot of DC folks like to speak of the gentrification, that's the same thing that happened down there, right? Back in the 80s, the 90s, even early 2000s, there was no Art Basel happening in those neighborhoods. And so to see how just bringing art to that community is able to transform it, I would love, love, love to be able to replicate that along Pennsylvania Avenue. Right now, we're only doing one night of Art All Night, but we hope to eventually make it out to 2 nights, right? Because we know the power of art.
Well, we are glad that you're here. And, can I just see a show of hands? Everybody says it's okay for Raquel to stay in DC.
Please.
Yes,
please.
she's
Yes.
honorary.
Well, there you go. Well, we are glad that you are here.
So thank you.
Diane, you are a native, born and raised.
Yes,
And talk to me about your community and in the context of Art All Night, what does this mean for you as a participant?
Well, for me, I am a native Washingtonian. Yes, DC public schools. I went through the Mayor Youth Program for the Summer Job Program, so I am all DC. So for this is a celebration of community pride as well, bringing everyone together. And especially right now with all the noise in the background, we need something to celebrate in DC. We are one to celebrate the music, the art, the children, the adults, the young folks. It's just a night to bring everyone together to celebrate the rich history of Ward 7 and all the other wards in Washington, D.C. So this here takes me back to growing up in D.C. when we used to all get together and meet up at the park, Anacostia Park, Fort DuPont Park. All the folks come together and just celebrate music and celebrate each other. So this here is just a celebration of the pride for DC.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in depth, but I wanted to bring, Herb into this conversation also because, Herb, you are with Life Enhancement Services, and at first, it was raising a question in my head that, what does, a mental health organization have to do with art? But kind of give me the rundown for those who are wondering, how does that work?
Yep. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, Howard, for doing this today for us.
Sure thing.
I came to my first Art All Night a couple of years ago, and it was behind the Penn Shopping Center with music, arts, and things of that nature. I like Raquel, not a DC native. I'm from Charlotte, although I have a home in DC and put my office in Washington. I had to learn about it, right, and learn what's going on in DC. How can I be a part of it? So we put our office in Ward 7. It worked well. Organically, man. I'm just an avid art collector. I travel the country talking about art and also talk about mental health. And so when the opportunity came to for me to open this office, I said, what about we just put art all throughout our office, man. I mean, really serious art. So that when you walk in off of Minnesota Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue, you walk in wherever, ML King now, and you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with, you can come in that space and sort of escape, right? You can say, hey, here's something that looks great on me on the wall. Here's African Americans own a company. Here are African Americans that love on you, want you to do the best you can. And so when Raquel came to me with this idea, I'm like, Raquel, I got to do this. Right, I don't know what it means for me to do it, but I got to be involved because it's bringing all things great to that are about Ward 7. But as she just said, it's about the whole city coming together as well.
Yeah, Raquel, talk to me a little bit, if you can, about who and what will be part of the process of participating. And as a matter of fact, give people the rundown also about what's happening tomorrow night from 6 to midnight.
6 to midnight. So we have a very, very, very intentionally curated night planned for the entire community. We'll be kicking the night off right at Herb's spot at Life Enhancement Services with the Legacy Lounge. I don't smoke cigars, but if you're the sophisticated kind, we have a nice mobile cigar lounge for you. Well, there'll be hand rolling cigars. We'll have a whiskey tasting with that, and as you able to view Her's private collection, we'll have live instrumentation from the trap celloists, as well as outside we'll have a DJ and a dance floor for my people that like to hand dance. I'm a two-step kind of girl, so that's what I'm going to be back there doing. And then if you step right outside around the corner, you have Thai Orchid Kitchen, the best Thai food. I would say east of the river. I'm willing to even say in DC, but we'll be activating inside there well, and you can learn how to make cocktails. And so from 6 to 8 p.m., diners can step outside of the Legacy Lounge and walk right over to Thai Orchid and learn to make cocktails. Around 7 p.m. is where we'll be moving up the corridor to Randall Highlands Elementary School, and we're having a night of play. We named it Open Play, and this is for the inner child in everyone. If you have a child that you need to burn off some energy, this is where you'll bring them to. We'll have tons of lawn games. Personally, I'm excited for the spades. I like to talk a lot of trash, and I'm inviting all of the different community civic associations that are in the area of Hillcrest, Penn Branch. Where your best spade players at? Where your dominoes players at? We'll be doing all of that. And then as you're moving down the corridor, as you get to the shops in Penn Branch, that's where our main stage will be. So it'll be highlighted by Black Alley again, as well as the Grammy-nominated singer Mumu Fresh. We'll also have our Silver Coast Marketplace. And if you're feeling a little hungry, you can step inside either Miss Toya's, where we'll be having celebrity karaoke, or Highlands Cafe, where we'll be doing music trivia, and DJ Coco Spinelli will be spinning. So
That's a lot
going on. We have a lot going on.
Yeah, that does sound, that does sound like a lot. Diane, like you said, and this is an important question beyond just tomorrow night. But from your perspective as a businesswoman, as a DC native, and someone who grew up in Southeast, when you look at the evolution of the community, good and bad, what kind of goes through your mind as you look forward to tomorrow night?
I'm looking forward to meeting so many artists and that from the city. One thing about Art All Night is that they not only give the established artists an opportunity to show their artwork, they also give the up and coming ones. And there's a lot of great talent in DC. And this is an opportunity for not only the artists, but the other small businesses and the folks and the music folks to get out there and show what you can do. And this is a great opportunity for that. So I am looking forward to meeting the new up and coming artists, meeting the new business owners that are out here, and also checking out the restaurants and meeting the people that are coming out there as well. Because She from DC is a happy-go-lucky brand is what I call it. It's a people brand. It tells a story, and most of my customers want to talk to me and tell me about I remember when in DC. So that's what I get a lot. So I expect a lot of folks to come by to see me, to talk about their time growing up in DC. And also I'll be making my rounds to talk to other folks about what they're doing as well. But I'm looking forward to meeting some of the artists. And as I stated before, so many great artists come out of DC.
Talk to me a little bit. You kind of beat me to the punch, but talk to me a little bit about, she from DC, it is a brand, but right now, I would argue is a really important time for Washingtonians, whether they are native born and raised Washingtonians or newcomers who love the city. Talk to me about the pride that is really part of what we really need, I think, right now.
Right. She from DC is a brand that celebrates the roots and the pride of Washington, D.C. And it's not just for natives. It's also for folks who have been here for a very long time. Folks like Raquel, who's here. She's an honorary member, but all the others that are just happen to be in DC. But you just have love and a celebration of Washington, D.C. And you know, with all the noise that we're dealing with now, many feel that the D.C. we know is being taken away from us. But my brand is a celebration. It's not only she from DC, I also do he from DC as well. So again, it's a brand that tells a story. There's history behind those three words there. You know, you talk about the school you went to. I remember when I grew up in this particular neighborhood. You remember all the friends, and all of those memories come to heart. And that's what she from DC is all about: a celebration and love and pride for the city.
Hold that point. I have so much to talk to you all about, everything related to art all night and the spirit of this event. But we're going to take a quick break. Don't forget, you can hear this in every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The Original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR. This conversation continues on Sirius XM channel 141 and 96.3 HD2 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our conversation about art all night in DC. It's tomorrow night from 6 to midnight. We're particularly focusing tonight on communities east of the river. My guests are Raquel Perry, Esquire, director of the Pennsylvania Avenue East Main Street. Ooh. I gotta get the name right. My goodness, it's just because it's such a long name. The Pennsylvania Avenue East Main Street Marshall Heights Community Development Organization. Yes, Incorporated. Herb Gray, Life Enhancement Services, and Diane Young, owner of She from DC. Herb, I wanted to kind of pick your brain just a little bit when you talk about art. You say that you are a big collector, and I think you and I have that in common. I have a lot of art in my home, and it just seems to me that there seems to be a bit of a resurgence of new Black talent in the art world, and DC has, I think, a lot of that. And you know what they say, art is what you like. There are no hard and fast rules. What are your thoughts about, just the art community in DC and how we might be able to see a part of that on tomorrow?
Sure. And again, we're at 1301 Lafont Square, Southeast 1301 Lafont
Okay.
Square. But I would say this, Harold, thank you for that question. I kind of move around a lot. We have offices in other places, Houston, Dallas, we're in Charlotte. One thing I found about Washington is it has a rich history. I don't know, it's because of the universities or the museums or the people, but there's a lot of talent here that can sort of exhibit itself. If we talk about painting, from either from the academic world or from the way they just learn how to paint, right? And so that talent and the professionalism is very high here, I've noticed. And so when I run into people, whether it's in shout out to anybody, Busboy Poets, they post or wherever it is, I always see some quality things out there, right? And art is, of course, what you make of and how you determine it. But I say bigger than that for me is stuff that appeals to me. My daughter, who's in sixth grade, is stuff that appeals to just all kind of people, right? And so I have launched in and been able to be a supporter of them, and then they end up helping me because a lot of times these artists are so creative, man. If I'm having a tough day, I pick up the phone, I call, and he or she'll say, "Hey, keep your spirits up. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what's happening. I'm painting a mural out here on Marionberry Way or whatever, right? And I ride over there and look at that mural, right, and see what they're up to." And so I've just been amazed at organically the type of talent here. So much talent here that I've invited a lot of these artists to come by. They say, "Herb, I'm going to stop by a minute. I'm being called over here. I'm being called over there. I'm being called over there." So the secret is out. DC's got some talent, man.
Yeah. Raquel, I can see kind of the enthusiasm on your face. What does the art community mean I think for you personally, as well as in the community work that you're doing?
I think art is like the great equalizer. Art comes in so many different mediums, so many different forms, and just like you said, art is kind of like how you interpret it, right? What it means to you. And I in college, I went to the great Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, the FAMU.
Oh, in Tallahassee, yeah, we'll have to talk because I used to work in Tallahassee, so that's a whole. I know. Listen, I know from whence you cometh. Okay, so, I've been in a couple of places, but we'll talk about that later. But please go ahead.
But yeah, so when I was in college, I took a course, an art appreciation course. And that was like in 2009, but there are so many little things that I still remember. So when I personally, like when I step out in museums or like her mentioned, you can find art throughout the city, or whether it's a mural or in Busboys and Poets, they have a wonderful collection. Though I feel like the way that I interpret it has grown just a little bit or changed, so to speak. At one point, I'm just looking at it as a picture or a sculpture, but now I'm trying to get in the mindset of what the artist may have been thinking or what the artist was trying to convey to us. So art is near and dear to my heart, and that's why we want the community to come out and enjoy it. And we want to use art as a way to provide some economic relief to our businesses on the corridor.
So tell me this, because I do have a lot of friends who may show up on tomorrow.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, when ahead of this conversation, and I was looking up some stuff, and I saw information online, and I forwarded it to a friend of mine who lives in Baltimore, and the reaction was OMG.
Really?
Yeah, because she plans on now going, because she is an art collector. And I think one of the things that is so important, and certainly Herb, you know how it is when you see a piece of art and it does it for you,
right?
And you can't define it. Well, why do you like that? Because I like it, because it does it for me. It reaches me. And so I guess the question
can you hear
is,
her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Gotcha. Yeah. I can't define it. Go ahead.
And so if it reaches you, and obviously you want people to participate, but I suspect that there are going to be some people who want to come and buy. And so I guess my question is, where tomorrow will there be opportunities for people to buy art?
Good point. So when Raquel brought this up to me, I intentionally said, I'm going to put art out there from artists from the DMV. And when
Yes.
they come on down there, I can't, you can't leave them to the water and drink it as well. Yes, they got to come on down there, and then they can say, hey, this is my piece, and this is where you can get it at. So if they see me, I have my shirt, I tell them where they go get it at. But I thought how great it would be just to have the artists themselves down there, and the gallery owners. And then they could talk about, this is where we do, and this is where we are. And let's talk about, you don't have to, spend this much, you can spend this much. Let's find price points from where they are and things of that nature. And so to your point, how do they make it work? We're going to have people intentionally placed around just to talk about it and make that work.
Through all of the, so it's not just going to be in one spot where you may have an opportunity to buy.
No, we've got different floors in our building, different areas. But what I wanted to do also, Harold, was make it so that businesses and if you're an artist, you're a business. If you have a clothing store, you're a business. If you're a musician, you have a business. But you can also talk about it right there that night, right? You can be talking about it, and so I wanted to bring that dynamic to what we do.
Yeah. Diane, as a businesswoman, for your particular brand, what does this event, how is this going to enhance your brand? Because again, for for people who have been around for a minute, they know who you are. Okay, you are not a secret, I should say. So, how does this, take your business to the next level, or is it about you taking your business to the next level and more about you just continuing to be an advocate for the city?
Well, it's a combination of both. For me, She from DC is a growing brand, so it's out there, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm building the brand. But for me, I'm always looking for graphic artists. I'm looking for new designs for my merchandise and accessories as well. So, and I'm a art lover as well. So this is not only just a celebration of the art that's it within the city, but also I want to talk to folks and get ideas of what's going on with them, and they're DC residents, or if they're from outside of DC. I'd like to talk to people. I'm a people person. My brand is about it's a people brand. Everybody that comes to my table has a story, and some of these stories need to be told, or they just want to talk to me, and they have ideas on what they would like, where they would like to see She from DC go, some of the designs they would like to have. So those are things that I'm looking forward to, interacting with the customers, talking to some of the artists, and also potentially getting someone to help me build my graphics for my next iteration of designs.
Let me ask you this, because we do have time, and I'm really interested because you've mentioned this twice. What is your favorite DC story?
Oh, well, DC. My what sticks out for me is I used to be with the Upward Bound program up at
Mm.
Georgetown University. I remember taking that bus from Southeast, going through Northwest, all those beautiful homes and nice stores, and going up to Georgetown University for my Saturday program, getting my stipend each Saturday. And I remember getting off the bus. This is a funny story. Uh, that Burberry store that used to be right there on that corner. Getting off the bus, standing in front of that window, looking at that trench coat and that plaid umbrella. And I was young, and I said, one day I'm going to own one of these. Yeah. So that's a story that I always think about and laugh about. So when I was able to afford to buy a piece of Burberry, I think about that story. But it all started when I was a young girl on that bus going up to Georgetown University for the Upward Bound program. And I also think about all the folks that I went to school with, sandbox friends. I have so many fond memories growing up in DC. So many fond memories. And of course, I love go-go. So
No,
DC.
really?
Yeah.
Hold 1 second, Harold.
I
Let me
love
let
go-go
Diane know.
music.
Diane,
Yes.
I wear extra large. So if you stop by Burberry again, anything extra large, pick it up for me.
Oh no, but that story just so funny to me because I just remember riding that bus, and I recall getting off that bus when I was told do not get off the bus. But I had to go, and I was like, I want to go stand in front of that window and look in. Yeah. So
It's so funny, and I don't want to get off topic, but like I said, Art All Night is a DC thing, and I think Diane brings it home because this is an opportunity for us to reconnect with DC now and those stories. So, and I have so many DC stories, but it's so funny because I was on the phone this morning. I was talking to another friend of mine who is from New York, but she went to Howard, came here in '89, and we were talking about things. And I'm Raquel and Herb. This is not y'all's story. This is between me and Diane. But
Gotcha.
But so hold on, Diane. I used to work at Woody's downtown.
oh, Woody's had the best shoes. That
Yeah,
designer shoes.
at where the H&M building is
Yes.
now, but
Yes.
you can still see it in engraved in the stone.
Yes.
Right up the street, right next to the Willard Intercontinental. I forgot what place it is now, but it used to be Garfinkel's. Okay,
Exactly. Yes,
there
I
was
remember.
Wally's. Those were DC. Those were
Oh,
DC stores.
yes.
You remember when the subway came and
Yes.
it stopped at the Smithsonian. I've told this story all the time. We went down to the Air and Space Museum because that's where the smart girls were.
Mm.
The subway gave us access to
Yeah.
Georgetown, because we could go and it just kind of opened up, the beauty, of DC. And so I really see not just the art that you can see, but I think the artistic heart of what DC is about. And
Yeah.
and listen, we all know that 30-day emergency ended, yesterday. And Raquel, if you could wax, for a little while about that, what do you believe tomorrow will bring to our community east of the river in the wake of the past 30 days? What is your hope for that?
So going back to the thing, we are one. This is going to be a reprieve for a lot of people, right? Like we know what's going on. That it's out of our control, right? But this is what we can control. We can control coming together. We can control being in community. We can control supporting each other and loving on each other. We're very intentional about curating an experience that makes our guests feel safe and welcomed and know that this is their home, this is their space. And so you should come to expect a good time. You should come to
Yeah.
expect community, and you should know that you are safe.
What your thoughts about that, Herb?
Yeah, I think that one of the things I talked to Raquel about, I said, are we still going to do this? I remember asking her. She said, yeah, we hadn't even never thought about not doing it, right? And
Right.
so that's the kind of spirit and energy when you talk about Diane, Raquel, all these other people involved. The spirit and energy of the people are like, well, this is what we do, and this is showing the best of DC. So I think whether it you know the I hate to use the word takeover because that's giving people too much power, but whatever you call it goes on or stops. I think for this particular area of Washington, we've decided we're going to move forward, and highlight who we are and what's good about where we are.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Diane.
Yeah, and I have attended art all night in the past. I've
Mhm.
been a participant and a vendor, and I have never ever had an issue. It's been nothing but community fun. Everybody's just there to have a great time. It's a safe environment. It's family friendly. So I would encourage everyone to come on out. There's something for everyone. It's a great time for everyone to come together. And again, we're going to go back on the theme. We are one. We're going to be celebrating in every ward. Everyone is celebrating the same thing. So I
That's
think
right.
it's going to be an awesome night.
Yeah, and I think we'd be remiss if we were just to assume that this is just obviously east of the river. It is not. I mean, this is a DC thing. I think that often when we've seen art all night and other kind of venues, they are in some of the more popular places. But
Right.
like most big cities, DC is a city of neighborhoods,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and people are connected to their neighborhood. And so yes, make sure that you have an opportunity to go down and see, Diane with that, that noon smile, even though it's going to be after 6 o'clock. And but if you have a chance, if you're one of those people who likes to hop around, yeah, go to Pennsylvania Avenue, and then go back across, and make sure that you do have your wallet, your American Express card, so that you can, as they say, bless some of the the businesses and the and the artists, because I think that's important. And Herb, a
Mhm.
lot of the artists, they may not be doing this full time. This is
Right.
it's their. I wouldn't even want to call it a side hustle. It's their side vocation.
Right.
It's their passion, and it would be good to go down and to kind of respect that, and to pay homage to those who are expressing themselves, sculpting, throwing vases, painting, the like.
That's right. That's right. Harry, you make a very good point. Many of them are they love what they do, but it may be one of two or three different jobs they got in this world, right?
Mhm.
And we've all been that way, trying to make things work. And so along that way, again, even with the fact, when Raquel came to the idea of doing, hand dance and have the violinists having the cigar people, we thought about it from a standpoint of all these people are business owners, right? Who need a spotlight to shine what's good
Yeah.
about them, right? And so, when looking at it, that's one of the things that I think sometimes gets missed with Art All Night. From the Dianes, from everybody, we're all sort of business owners, and we're just giving of ourselves and our time to make this great for a city we really love.
And Raquel, here's the other piece that I did want to ask you about. What do you believe are the long-term benefits of an event like what's happening tomorrow night? Obviously, it was there last year,
Right.
excuse me. How do you capitalize on last year's event on tomorrow? And I'm sure you're already thinking about, next steps in the years to come.
Right. So I'm actually new in this role. Next month will be 1 year, right? So this is my first time planning Pennsylvania Avenue's Art All Night. And one thing that I did before I started this role, I did some research on the Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast corridor. And did you know Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast was once a very bustling economic vehicle for the district.
Oh, look, Diane and I knew Morton.
Yes.
Right. Look, right
Yes,
there up
we
at
do.
295.
Right.
Come on now.
Exactly.
The big chair, when the big chair was there, it wasn't just the big chair. It was, what was it?
Yes.
Was it Levin's Furniture?
I forgot the name of that furniture, but you do remember on Pennsylvania Avenue, they had Morton's, and that was a big deal. Morton's department store.
Oh, yeah. How many pair of underwear did my mother buy me from Morton's? I'm sorry, Raquel, please. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please go right ahead.
Harold, let me say this.
Hold on. I want her to make her point, then I'll let you jump in. Go ahead, Raquel.
Yeah. So when I learned about that, I was like, okay, how do we get back there? I wasn't here for its transition to where we are now, but how do we get it back there, right? And so I think Art All Night is a great way to jumpstart that, right? So like throughout this contract year, I've been working with the businesses independently, right? Helping them out independently. But this allows me to spotlight so many businesses that aren't ordinarily being seen. Fun fact, did you know we have a pharmacy, Black-owned woman pharmacist on Pennsylvania Avenue? Most people didn't know that. The CVS just left. We need to be making sure she gets business, right? And so we got her. She's going to be tabling at the Legacy Lounge at LES, right, at 1301 L'Enfant Square Southeast, because we need people to know she's there. She's also receiving the Pennsylvania Avenue East Emerging Business Award, right, like at our main stage. Right. So in front of I don't know the numbers. It's going to be a lot, a couple thousand people, right? She'll get to have her business spotlighted, right? Like, and she's coming up on just a year being on the corridor. We have Addison Auto Parts that's been on the corridor for 34 years. 34 years. He's been leading the charge. Earl Howard is providing our photography services. They're providing our photo booth, right? And they're getting an award, right? So I was trying to use little ways to spotlight my businesses that aren't necessarily getting the attention they normally get. Top Orchid Kitchen, like I said earlier, best food east of the river, right? They told me that business has been so bad, like it wasn't even this bad during the pandemic. And that says a lot, right? So I was like, how do I help them? How do we get people in there? I have to sign them up for Dine All Night, right? Like I have to make sure that they're their popular dishes are highlighted. Make sure that we're getting people in there. And it's perfect they're right next to the Legacy Lounge at LES. So that allows a good flow of people to move back and forth. And so that was some of the things that I did. Like, I want people to have a good time in these spaces tomorrow night, but want to come back. Like, I love that service I got at Top Orchid. Man, it was so peaceful at LES. And that's the idea that I have.
And let me say before I let you jump in, Herb. So the big chair, for those who aren't familiar or don't remember, so it was, I just looked it up. Thank God for Google. It was Bassett Furniture who made the chair, but the name of the company was Curtis Brothers Furniture.
Curtis Brothers, yes.
Don't you remember the Curtis Brothers Furniture?
Curtis Brothers Furniture.
Right.
Yes.
So there you go. You know, we're not just here to make you laugh. We're here to educate and to inform. But go ahead, Herb. I'm gonna let you have the last word, real quick.
Don't end on this stuff. But Harold and Diane, so my ego wants people to say they know what my company is, Life Enhancement Service. I give my address. But DC people, when they have a blank stare, you know what I say? It's right beside the old Mortons. That's what I got to go back and say that. That's what I want to say. I just said, it's beside Morton. I just walk away. I keep on going.
I'm gonna start using that because when I say L'Enfant Square, they think of L'Enfant Plaza. So I'm
right, yeah. Just
right.
when you tell them, anybody who is over 40,
right?
If they're over 40, you say, well, it's right next to the old Mortons.
They know.
They be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Why didn't you say that from the beginning? I'm like, oh.
But Harold, I got to say one thing. Now,
go ahead.
As a DC resident, native, if you did not get your picture, your high school picture taken at Earl Howard, you're not a DC resident. Everybody has been through Earl Howard's studio for your class pictures. That's the only one. That's all we have was Earl Howard.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky to have them on our corridor. Right?
And I can't believe they're still there.
They're still there. They're doing great. They're amazing. We use them for every event that we have. Like, it makes sense to use my businesses. I want to put money back into them as well.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to have that be the last word. But I want to thank all of you.
Thank you
for not only your participation, but your humor, your input. It's been a rough couple of weeks for DC, and I think that Art All Night is something that the city really, really needs to bring some sunshine even after sunset. Yeah, you can use that. You won't, and I won't even charge you for it. Herb Gray, Rocco Perry, Diane Young, thank you all so very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Harold.
Thank you.
That is the Daily Drum for this Thursday, September 11th. I'm Harold Fisher. Good night.